Hello, art people. Welcome to a new lesson called It's Cool to Be Kind. I'm going to just be using a pencil to draw a winter landscape. I'm going to put a snowman in mine. You can do any winter landscape that you want. And then I'm going to put it on some black construction paper, and underneath I'm going to write 3 different ways I can show kindness. So first thing we do is always the same. Pick up our pencil and we write our name. I'm using some thicker paper here because I'm going to be doing some shading. And it's easier to shade on thicker paper. And then after you write your name, you write your class, which is your grade level, and the first letter of your teacher's last name goes where I put a little blank. Okay, so first I'm just going to sketch out my idea here. So just drawing very lightly, and you can kind of be a little messy with this sketch. And I'm going to start with my subject, which I'm going to do a snowman for mine. All right, so here is my idea. This is my sketch. So the next thing I'm going to do is go in and clean up my sketch by going over the lines that I want to keep, adjusting the lines a little bit as I see fit, however I think it looks good, and erasing anything that I don't want. All right, there's my snowman. Now I'm going to start turning my little triangles on sticks into actual trees. So for my trees, I'm just going to start with some snow patches. So I'm going to start at the bottom and do just this kind of like wobbly type shape. I'm gonna do those. Kind of like in a triangle type of formation. So just random little wobbly shapes that make a triangle. And then after that, I'm going to go underneath and then just kind of do some ziggy zaggies for the leaves, just coming out from my little snow patches there. And then just some like little added ziggy zaggies. And then I'll just put a trunk at the bottom. Now that I have finished drawing, I'm going to go ahead and start doing my shading. So I'm gonna just pretend that my light source is basically like right here, like in front of the snowman. So therefore the front balls of my snowman are going to be light, and then I'm gonna do shading on the outsides here. So like there's a light shining right there. So I'm just going to take my pencil and go back and forth all the way around the snowball like that. And then I'm going to do that same thing right next to it, but I'm going to be lighter. So my pencil's a little further away from the paper. I'm like barely touching the paper this time. And then I'm going to do one more layer, and I'm just going to be even more gentle. And I'm not going to go over it very much. So that is how I'm going to do my shading. So I'm just going to do that on every edge. So again, on the next to your line, next to your outline, you can go over it quite a few times. You don't need to be super gentle with it because we want it to be dark. But then once you do that, when you do another line next to it, this, you want it to have a medium pressure. So it's a little lighter. And then lastly, just barely touching it. Like so. And then I'm going to do that underneath each snowball as well. Okay. Once it looks like that, then you're going to want to get something that you can rest your hand on, because as you move back and forth with your pencil on your art, you're going to start smudging, and you'll see by your hand will start getting dirty. So this is just a scrap piece of lamination paper. You can really use anything, but that's going to stay flat on your paper. That way when you move your hand, it's just rubbing on this and not the paper. Then though, once you have your 3 values, so dark, medium, light, then you can take a tissue, wrap around your finger, and then go back and forth. So you start at the dark, and you get closer to the middle, like that. And then you can go to the other side and do the same thing. I'm just gonna flip it upside down. So then it doesn't look, we don't want it to look scribbly. Okay. And I'm just going to continue that for each snowball here. So when you're blending in, that's what it's called when you take your pencil lines and kind of smudge them together. I call it blending. For these smaller areas, instead of wrapping it around your finger like that, because that kind of gives you a big blending surface, you can just take your finger out and kind of just pinch it and maneuver it into a smaller little blending space. All right, now I'm going to shade the the arms. So kind of same thing, since my light, we're pretending the light is right here in front. So it can be dark on the sides and light in the middle. So I'm just gonna go through and do some soft pencil on the outsides of all of this. Just right inside my lines. And then here, make it really teeny tiny. You can blend that. Okay, and then if you get your pencil really sharp, you can go in and draw wood lines. So I will zoom in so you can see. So if you want to kind of draw these like long U's and like S's, it can kind of look like a wood texture, or just lines even. Can make it look more like wood. Okay, now I'm going to work on my scarf. I'm going to do curve lines for the stripes instead of just straight up and down, because that will make it look more three-dimensional. There's not really a whole lot of perfectly straight lines in real life. So in art, we don't draw a whole lot of straight lines if we're trying to make it look real, which I am. Okay, now to make this scarf look even more three-dimensional, I'm going to do what I did with everything else, and I'm just going to shade a little bit on the sides. And then next to like the dark line that I made, I'm going to do a medium line. So dark, medium, and again, just to get the dark and medium, I'm really, really light pressure, like I barely am touching the page with that medium and light value. And I don't go over it very often, many times either. Just take some practice. And then I could blend this, but I am not going to. Alright, so my subject is done. My foreground, which is like the thing that's closest to us, which is usually my subject, which is my snowman. So now I'm going to do the middle ground, which is the stuff that's in the middle. So I'm going to do my trees. And for my trees, I'm just going to do the shading on the leaves of the tree. And I'm going to leave the snow white for right now, and then I'll shade the snow in a second. So I'm just going to go through here and go back and forth like this, and I'm just going to go in the same direction that the tree leaves would go. So I'm not going to go up and down, I'm going to go out. And I'm going to go all the way up to the snow, my snow blobs. I'm going to get some scrap paper now because I'm going to need to go off of the page in order to get all these little areas here. So when you're doing your shading next to the edge of the page, get some scrap paper and put it underneath it. All right. Okay, so for the snow of it, I'm just going to really, really lightly add some texture. Just super gently, like towards the bottom of the snow blobs. So just really, really gently. I'm making like little kind of circle-y motions. And then it looks kind of fluffy. All right, and then for the trunk, I'm going to do exactly what I did with these stick arms. So just shade on the sides. And then I'm just going to add my little upside down U's and S's and random curvy lines to make the texture of the bark. Okay, and that is how I did my tree. So I'm going to do all of my trees that exact same way. All right, so I have finished my trees, but I need to tell you guys something. In art, when you're trying to make things look realistic, it's technically supposed to kind of like be the most bold in your face values up in the front in our foreground or our subject. And then in the middle ground, like where our trees are, it's supposed to be a little bit lighter and more subdued and like further back so that the audience doesn't pay as much attention to this. We want them to pay attention to this first and then this. And then the background is supposed to be super light or dark or whatever it might be. But what I'm trying to say is my trees and my snowman kind of match in values. Like I need to make my trees a little lighter. So I am going to take my eraser. You do not need to do this, but I'm going to take my eraser. And it's actually easier with a kneaded eraser, but I'm just going to kind of pick up the value by pressing my eraser on it like this. So see how it's making everything a little lighter? So I just need these to kind of not be so in your face. So I'm doing that, but you don't need to. It's just bothering me because I know that that's how art is supposed to be. It's supposed to be your foreground, your subject is the main thing, and we want to look at it, and then this needs to be a little bit lighter because I felt like this and this were kind of fighting for the attention of the viewer. There we go. So my snowman is popping compared to my trees. They're a little bit more in the background. And now we can start working on the ground. Next, I'm going to make a frame. Okay, so I have 2 pieces of black construction paper here, and I am just going to line them up like so, and I'm going to tape them together. Now I'm going to flip this upside down, or right side up, I guess, and I've got this nice large piece of black construction paper that I'm going to map my artwork onto. So I'm just going to flip my artwork upside down, and I'm just going to glue the back of it. And I want to make sure that my glue is going on there thin. Like I want to make sure it's spread out nice and thin. All right, now this is going to be the top, and I want there to be a big area down at the bottom because I'm going to write ways to be kind down here and just a little bit of space at the top. So here I go. Okay, so I need a piece of paper to go down here so I can write 3 ways I can show kindness. And I'm going to want it to go there, but I need to cut this. So I'm going to use my ruler to draw a line where I want it to be trimmed off. Okay. This. All right, and that's going to go down there. But before I put it down there, I'm going to write my 3 ways to be kind. I'm going to give myself some lines so that way my handwriting looks better. So my first line up here is just going to be the title of my art, which is It's Cool to Be Kind. That's going to go there. And then I'll make myself 3 lines. So I can write my 3 ways. So I can put my first way here. My second way can go here. My third way can go here. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and write my title. It's cool to be kind. And then I'm going to write my 3 ways to show kindness on these lines here. All right, my first way to show kindness is play a game everyone can play, so no one gets left out. Okay, my next one is to use kind words. No teasing or name calling. Okay, and my last way is to say thank you to a teacher. All right, now the glue on my placemat's probably dry by now. So I'm gonna get this back out. Okay. And I'm gonna flip this upside down and glue it. Okay. So I'm gonna put this down here. All right. And there we have it. All done with my It's Cool to Be Kind winter landscape. Hope you guys liked this lesson. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.